H S Murthy, and I'm the CMO of Federal Bank. Very proud to introduce to you India #1, world #8, H S Prannoy. Very proud of the partnership that Federal Bank is going out and doing with him. We really hope to power his sport and his ambitions through this partnership. On Prannoy's right is Ashutosh sir. He's our chief mentor with the bank, and Prannoy himself. So I'll keep coming in at various points in time, but I'll let him usher in on what he thinks about this partnership. And then, of course, we'll take questions from you.
Well, first of all, thank you, Murthy sir, and thank you, Ashutosh sir. I think it's been a privilege to be here, to be associated with Federal Bank, and really looking forward to wearing Federal Bank on my jersey. And I think it's a journey which I think I will surely say for my career. I think there's been a lot of places from where I've got immense support, and I'm sure that this partnership is going to kind of get me to the next level in the badminton level. I'm sure that the coming years we'll have much more medals, and hopefully I can be giving my entire energy to the bank as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Should we start with the Q&A? Or is there a video that you want to play? So we are happy to address questions that you have, and I think that will create the story in itself.
Will you start?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Prannoy, you want to ask?
You.
Just tell us, the next big event is Paris. How do you look at it? The entire Indian badminton, two qualify from the top two. So, how do you look at Paris Olympics shaping from here for you, especially the #1 place?
First of all, the biggest task is to qualify. We're still in the qualification period as of now, and there are almost 10 to 12 tournaments to go before the qualification ends in April 30th. So I think the target is to definitely qualify, because looking at the men's singles section, I think the competition is way too high, and you can see a lot of new players coming in from 30 rank also coming in and winning tournaments. So I think that means the competition is so wide open in the men's singles category, so you can't take anything for granted as of now. Yes, I had few good tournaments in the last few months, but I think the most important thing is to be focused and working hard to consistently play good badminton. I think that's what I'm trying to do. And yes, Paris Olympics is a big dream, and I think as a team we are doing really well from I think all the departments out there: men's singles, men's doubles, women's singles. I think so. When you look at a Paris perspective, I think I'm very confident that from a badminton sport, we'll definitely do well.
Yeah, as I know, one more question. Just #1, #10 from Denmark, in between all Asia. So actually the toughest part is facing Asians, isn't it? To
Yes.
win a medal today, actually, many events.
Yeah, I think Asian Games was one such event for all of us, which was very tough to medal. And I think after 41 years to medal in a singles category, I think I'm really proud that I could be on that podium. Would have loved to be standing on that center, but unfortunately, I think I should take say all the positives which came in Asian Games, because we had a lot of things which could have gone the wrong way in the Asian Games, and we had a lot of physical issues. We had a lot of flu going around in during Asian Games. So when you look at in that perspective, I think very grateful that we could come back with I think 3 medals from the badminton. So yes, I think as you said, in the ranking list you have only 2 of them from outside the Asia. So that kind of states how tough the Asian draws are, and especially the tournaments which are coming in the next few months also. I think everybody is playing all the tournaments because of the Olympic qualification also. So that states straight from the first round it's going to be very tough and to kind of eventually win a tournament, it's just going to be really tough in the next 6 to 7 months.
HS, can you list out the positives from the Asian Games bronze medal win, and what kind of confidence will that give you going into Olympics?
Um, I guess meddling in bigger events is definitely a confidence booster because there's a lot of pressure from a lot of sides to perform because it's a once in a 4-year event and there's a lot of expectations coming in. So I think looking at that side of it, I think straight from the team event we kind of took that pressure really well from a team point of view, and I think everybody was very charged up to perform really well, and I think that kind of really got us in the silver medal. We kind of really missed that gold medal, to be honest, and I wish I was 100% fit on that particular day to kind of give even more chance to the team to get that gold. But I would say that silver also was a big medal for us. And I think after that, the individuals, I would say, as I said, there's a lot of things which could have gone wrong. I was injured. There was a lot of issues happening health-wise in the team. So, but I think by God's grace, a lot of things fell in place at the right moment. And I think for me, I kind of fought really hard for that medal. I knew it was one of those days where I had to put in my complete energy, and I was not really looking at the results. And I just wanted to come out of the court saying that I put in the complete effort, and that kind of paid off with the medal. So I would say really happy with the effort I put in, and not just from me but the entire support staff which came in for the Asian Games. I think they were doing the entire job straight from morning until evening to make sure that we are getting on court safe and sound to play, and I think they were putting that extra work behind to make sure that we are in the right state of mind to play. So I think all credit goes to the support staff and the coaches. I think Gopi Bhaiya has been a big backbone for me, and for him to be there at such a crucial match for me, I think kind of helped a lot to actually trust myself that this is something which is possible. So I would say yes. So a lot of things kind of fell in place in Asian Games.
Talking about energy, you played 3 back-to-back 3-setters in the World Championships, losing in the final. How have you had a tougher tournament in terms of energy and those kind of tiring kind of match?
Well, I think there's been a lot of. I think Malaysia Open also was very tough conditions to play, where I won the Malaysia Open. But looking at the level of tournaments is something like a World Championship. I think straight from the first round I had very tough draw, and to kind of beat the world number 1 in the quarterfinal and to reach a semi-final was, from that draw, was something which I never thought I could do, because I thought the first 2 rounds were very tough for me, and but to eventually beat 2 World Championship medalists on the draw and getting a medal was, I would say, that kind of shows the physical improvement also in my game, where I'm able to sustain a lot of good matches at that high level, and so that shows that you're out there. You just need to be working really hard on the physical aspect and the mental aspect to make sure that you win matches consistently. So
how's the recovery happening? You're on a break.
Getting better, I would say. But I think I'm not 100% out there. So I think Japan, China is very close by.
Yeah.
So not really looking at kind of going 100% in both the tournaments. We are just trying to be on that safe side of it, to know how the injuries gotten better. Yes, I've started training, but I think we have to really look forward to the next 8 to 10 months and make sure that we're not taking any bad decisions over here, so that we can be really good for the next season also. So it just but I think the progress has been really good, and we're hoping that we can be on the tour soon.
You seem to be making a habit of playing 3-game matches, and you tend to generally lose the first game and then go on. So you are making this a habit. So what is your thought process when you go a game down and then make a comeback? And it has happened with you in the recent season. become a topper?
It's not a habit, but I don't want that to be a habit. But I think the players are, as I said, the men's singles has been a very wide open category out there. So everybody is strong. I would say somebody from a 35. I mean, ranking doesn't matter here. Before it used to be like if you're in the top 8, then you have much better chances to win the first round. But now I think it's totally open out there. So in that way, when it comes to the matches, a lot of times you take time to get into the conditions, settle into the conditions, and sometimes you just you're not in the best shape in the first game, and then that's where I think the experience have come in place a lot of times, especially in the recent past, to trust that things will change in the second game. And probably the only I think things changed for me was to trust that I have to only focus on the second game or probably winning that second game. Rather, we used to think that when I have to win the second game and then I have to play a third game and win that also, right?
Okay.
Like generally when you lose the first set. But I think that kind of a mental change has happened where I think I am only focusing on the second game. And I'm thinking when it comes to third game, then it's anybody's game out there. I think that only has happened very frequently in the last 6 months or what, where when it comes to third game, it's just anybody's game, and I've been able to be there mentally much more fresher, and I think that's where a lot of experience have come in handy also.
Prannoy, many years ago, maybe a decade ago, the fitness was always a big question mark against Indian sports persons, team sports as well as open events. Today, what would you say? Is it on par with the Chinese, the Korean, the Japanese, or even, I don't know how the Europeans train. Is it different from the Asians training?
Yes, I would say we are not just par with, probably we are better than a lot of countries right now. With a lot of sports science technologies coming in, I think there's a lot of support from the government to kind of access those support, I would say. So I think that has made a lot of changes in our system as such. There's a lot of good physios coming in, there's a lot of good trainers and conditioners. So I think in that way we have been able to improve very rapidly in the last 5 to 6 years. And if you look at the training, there is definitely a different type of training which Europeans does than an Asian region. Asians are much more physically training, but Europeans are much more planned with their training on what they need to do. They're very much aware of the volume which they do in training, and they're much more planned with everything as such. But in Asia, I would say it is a little bit more of a group training which happens, because the numbers are more, so they have to do a group training that might end up in few players missing out on few chances. But in Europe, that is probably much more planned as such, and I think their way of life is also much healthier, and they have much better food. I would say a lot of I think nature-wise also, I think they're in a much better situation for the body to react in a much different way. So I think so their type of training is totally different.
Is there anything more the Sports Authority of India or the government can do, or you're happy with it? Generally, sportsmen talk highly about the support they get from the ministry and also the SAI.
Yeah, I think to be honest, we are getting very good support from ministry, SAI and TOPS, to be honest, because everything is taken care for the training and for playing abroad, for training abroad. I think everything is taken care in the last 1 decade. I think that gives a lot of cushion to just focus on the badminton and not just focus on anything else which you need to do. So I think that is something which has changed in the last 10 years, and I think a lot of support has been given to the next string of players, not just the elite, but the next string of players also who are coming up the rankings and giving them exposure to the tournaments, giving them all the facilities from a physio or a strength and conditioner. I think that has been improving every single year. So I think in that way there has been a lot of support coming in from the government as well.
I'm not sure if
Mr. Murthy, how do you plan to use him, your partnership with him? It's in the business,
So we are very excited of having Prannoy, because in many ways he personifies us as a brand. And if you know a bit about Federalbank, we have a less than 2% attrition rate. If you look at the other large banks, they must be in the high 30s, 35% attrition rate. So the draw that I'm doing from him as a sportsman and us as a brand is that the ability to hang in there and to keep pushing. When I think less than 2% in the sense that a lot of people must have made careers with us in the bank. We are a 41% women employee company. When I say women employee, they must have joined us as probationary officers, clerks. In between, they would have had marriages, kids, unwell parents, aging in-laws. All of that must have happened. But they have flourished in a workplace like this. And when you look at a champion athlete like Prannoy, this is what happens over a period in time. And I was talking to him separately. He was sharing about how when he was younger, when he was in his teens, 15, 16, up to 20, how he was far more restless and wanting to be the most skillful guy on tour. And then he said, no, I want to become the most hardworking guy and enjoy the process. Is how we want to go. Is how we wanted to go and build it. So for us also, we want to be the most admired bank in the country. There are the top 3, 4, 5 banks which are there. We are at number 7 now. We are hoping that we will break into number 6. And in many ways, a champion athlete like him and us, we look very synergistic because the journey is quite long and you just can't give up. And there is relentlessness about the whole process. Some days, some quarters rather, you're really up, and some quarters you're not doing well, but you need to come back and reset and replay the whole thing. Very ambitious set of team. And the other thing that he personifies is our own texture of colleagues who are there. We are, I think, our average age in the bank is about 34 years now, as against even 5-7 years back when we had in the early 40s. So a lot of the aspiration of the young set of colleagues who are joining us, about a young set of customers who are coming in, and you would have realized that the franchise has also grown quite a bit. We have put up a branch in Arunachal also. So with a partnership like this, we want to become a brand which is thinking about the next generation of customers and how do you go out and woo them. And it's not just an advertising opportunity, but how do you go out and bring out stories of the two distinct personalities. Just to add to what you were asking me, for us it is a ABCP kind of a thing. ABCP is athletics, badminton, C is CSR. We are very, very, very proud of CSR, and as a CMO I'm telling you, I think my bigger work is happening in the CSR space than on the brand space. We are proud sponsors of Sanjeevani, where we are helping out a lot of people to go out and start testing for cancer, the latest campaign which went live. Speak for India is the other area where we connect with a lot of youngsters in college, which is where again Prannoy will find a fit. And T is for tennis. Interestingly, we are doing a lot of work with the women's tennis, which is happening across the country. The girls are doing reasonably well. Some of the ITF tournaments which have happened in Delhi have been sponsored by us. So it's a gradual movement of the brand, and like him, we are enjoying the process every day. And I can tell you on behalf of the marketing team and the Federal Bank that there is not a single day when we don't have a new idea that we are thinking of. And every day we think, how do we get better than the previous day? So I'm just drawing inspiration from you.
Prannoy, I mean, you just come out of the 3 weeks vacation. Now, what's the focus you have? And will it be singles or doubles you will be considering more? And what are your take on the Olympics?
So first of all, there's no vacation as such. It was completely rehab, and I was in training for the most part of it. I was not able to play, that's it, but I think I was doing the rest, all the activities. And but I think, as I said, we are looking forward to the next 6 months of qualification period first, to first qualify for the Olympics, and that is the biggest challenge for everybody out there. And to be in the top 16 of the world by the end of April 30, I think that is a huge task. So I think the only focus is to do that.
Prannoy, speaking about fitness and injuries and all that, I'm not sure if you saw Glenn Maxwell yesterday at the Wankhede Stadium and the kind of knock that he single-handedly won it for Australia. He was immobile, he was cramping a lot, and those kind of things. Have there been instances, or have you faced, or have you known of those kind of instances in badminton, and people, he was immobile, so he still did it single-handedly. He was not able to walk, he was not able to run, he was not able to even stand. So yeah, he was just batting with one leg and scored that 201 not out. So instances of those kinds in badminton, have you known, or have you yourself faced, or have you seen those kind of things?
I faced obviously in Asian Games, but the unfortunate part is in badminton you need every single part of your body working. It's just impossible to move without anything else. And probably in a cricket, probably you can stand and play, that is one advantage. Even though you are having cramps, you are having any other issues, that is one advantage probably being a batsman. but unfortunately we don't have that in badminton. If you're having any issue, probably straight from starting from your toe, from your fingers, there are possibility of you not playing a particular day. So I think that's how a game is built. It's such a physical sport. That is why probably post 35 you must have not seen anybody playing at the top level, because you need big level fitness like tennis or basketball. Because I think the only exception in tennis also would be Novak Djokovic, and I think in badminton it was Lee Chong and Lindan who were at their peak even at 33, 34. But apart from that, you could hardly see any players playing at that level, because it's such a physical game, and the kind of injuries which you get, it might be very small, but it can stop you from playing for a week, 10 days. But probably like in a cricket, I would say there are much more chances to play. Being on the ground, you can be there. If it is something to the leg, you can at least play with your hand, and if it is, I think in that way, I think it's a big difference in the sport as such. So I don't think we can hardly compare with both of them.
So, basically on that point, so could you tell us, give us an insight when athlete is struggling so much physically, you yourself were struggling in the semi-final of the Asian Games, your back flared up almost. So what makes an athlete at that particular situation when the body has given up, the hands and the legs are not moving, what makes an athlete to push hard and go for the win? So you yourself were in that situation, you wanted to win. So what were your mental thoughts at that point of time, and what athletes think? They could end up very well with a career threatening injury as well. So what's the motivation?
I think the motivation is definitely to be standing on the podium whenever you play a tournament. That is always the end result which we want as an athlete. And more than that, I would say is to give the 100% of effort which you can every single time you get onto the court. That might not be 100% for somebody who is sitting outside, but I think for me as a player, it's important that I put my 100% on court, which I know that this is my 100%. So that's the only thing which I can do when I'm injured. And say a day like Asian Games, I would say it was a group call to say what all risk we have with playing with this injury and what all things we can lose if we play more with this injury. So the risk was less, so that is why I played. But the risk was only, obviously, if I play that, then I might be sitting out for 1.5 months, which I was ready to take that risk for an Asian Games medal. So I think that was the risk which we took as a team, from a physio point, from a doctor's point, and for me, I would say the only thing on a quarterfinal day was how much I can push this match to make sure that I win this. I knew that I was in a position to close it off straight, but it went on to third game, it became even more tougher. But I think as a sports person, that's where you believe yourself that the work which you have done over the years, it might come handy for that one day. So I think just that trust and belief, you keep pushing on.
Thought of a career-threatening injury also comes up, but you have to plan.
But I think you'll have to be a little brilliant in managing all those decisions. Yes, I think as an experienced player, you have to be brilliant in taking those decisions, and I think that's where the whole team comes in place, the whole support team comes in place, and they are the ones who are going to give you that call. So,
Prannoy, what are you playing next now? Where are you playing? What are you
playing Japan and China Open.
Okay.
Starting from next week. Yeah.
Okay. And you speak sometimes of the next generation, and you always said it's important to have a system in place to bring our next generation of champions. What do you mean by the system? Sometimes you said it's better than, means more important than academies. So something you could elaborate what you mean by that. When you say you want a system.
When you look at the sport as a whole in India, I think it has grown multifolds, and you have academies every corner in every cities. If you look at Bangalore, if you look at Chennai, you have 200 to 400 courts in each and every city. So, but is that it? I mean, are we going the right direction? Is that enough to make more world champions or Olympic champions? Is the question here, right? So I think in that way, I think it's very important that we get into a structure where at least the top players of a certain place is playing together. According to me, I think it's very important to have that kind of competition amongst yourself on an everyday training ground, because that only will make sure that you are improving, you learn from each other, you see a lot of different personalities. But if you are the best player in one academy
Yes.
and you are continuing to be the best player, then you
Correct.
don't know what's kind of lying ahead of you. So I think you feel that you are the best over there, so you don't have to do anything more to be the best, and you will only see that reality when you get into a tournament. So I think that's kind of a lagging kind of a system probably right now. I would say it's I think it's a big change from the last 10 years, definitely, where there's a lot of boost for the badminton. A lot of players are taking up sport, but I say at least the top players needs to play together, which is I think probably for us, for me, I was lucky enough to be part of that group, to face almost 15 singles players on an everyday basis and to constantly get that losses straightforward and to learn from it, and that's how you learn. And, I think that is very important for a sporting culture, I say, so that I think in the next 2 Olympic cycles we'll get many more medal opportunities, many more medal chances from our sport.
Thank you.
Just a follow-up to our question. I don't know if you have seen the new facility in Guwahati. They say it's quite impressive and all. We have one in Bangalore, the Prakash Dravid Academy, where Prakash and Vimal run that with 16 courts. Do you think India needs much more courts like that all over, across all zones, and do you think you also need some big prize money events in India to keep the interest alive among the middle level or the lower level, so that they make sufficient money end of the year?
Yes, definitely. I think that is one big change which I want to see happening in the next 10 years down the line, where there is a lot of big prize monies coming in, at least decent prize monies for the next set of group, especially from under 13, under 16, under 19. There are a lot of events happening these days. Luckily, there are a lot of tournaments for the kids to look forward to train and to look forward to. But I would say, monetary wise, it's not at all great. I'm sure parents are spending too much of money for the flight tickets, accommodation. But are you able to get that money at least by winning a tournament? That's not happening, to be honest. So I think that needs to change. I wish a lot of more corporates come in, like Federal Bank, also come in to support these kind of tournaments. I think that would be a big boost for the entire nation as such, where kids would be thinking that, okay, if I play this, I have something to look forward to, and that would give them boost to play the next level of badminton in the coming years.
Would you also propose something like the PGTI, the Professional Golf Circuit in India, which gives so much prize money even into the number 50 player in India? Maybe you make cuts about 10 lakhs a year.
Yeah.
Do you think a similar sort of a tournament for badminton over a period of time, because they should take advantage of the top 30, that 4 players already in India.
Yeah.
They should, the BFI badminton federation should take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of sport where there's a lot of money coming in, especially like golf and cricket. I think there's a lot of push coming in from all the areas. So yes, I definitely hope we are also going into that same direction, and players also make a little bit money out of it, and especially the junior side, because from juniors to seniors the transition is very hard. That 4 years is very deadly, to be honest. A lot of them kind of backs off in that 4 years, from 19 to 22, 23, because you don't get results, but you need to keep going, and there needs to be some kind of a push coming in from say from a monetary side of it, where players can push through that 3-4 years, and then I think that break will come only after 22, 23. So yeah.
Thanks.
Prannoy, are you satisfied with the government's support when you are going for international matches?
Yes, I think we have been completely being funded by government and SAI and TOPS. Last 10 years, I would say, there's been immense support coming in for all of us. I think all the tournaments are funded by government, and so I think that's been great.
Last question. Mark, you are satisfied with that?
Yeah.
Last question, guys.
And one more thing, see, we have now we are moving to number 1 in population wise, India. But compared to that, see, China, they have a lot of athletes, but we don't have enough qualified athletes to meet international events. Where is the drawback? How can we cross that? Do you have any suggestion?
I think the first barrier would be to educate as many coaches as possible. think that is one barrier which we are facing. We have only few good players who are coming back to the system, who have played at a very good level. A lot of them are not coming back to the system, to be honest. So I think we need to get back all those good players who have played in the past. They need to come back to the system and educate the other coaches on what needs to be done on a training aspect. So I think that's where we can increase the number of good quality coaches. I think that training program for coaches is very important coming for the next generation as such. Because now if you see, there are only few players who are in the system, and Gopi Bhaiya is obviously there as head coach over there. But if you look at other places, there are not big names coming into the structure as such. So I would say definitely in the coming years, if we can educate more coaches about how badminton training happens and what all you can do to be on that world level of training, this gap can be shortened and you can see many more.
Actually, you want to add to what Prannoy is saying, and interestingly, what you mentioned is a very important thing, but the pressure is also coming from the demand side. There are a lot of parents who now are thinking of cricket plus something else. So, for example, tennis or badminton or chess, you know, the way Neeraj Chopra and all of them have performed in athletes. So, there is a whole mood amongst parents to believe that there is an opportunity for our next generation of children to go out and play sport very actively. Plus, our own travels as people, we are traveling across the globe and we are getting influenced by what we are seeing. If I'm a parent of somebody who plays chess, or if I'm a parent of somebody who's an athlete, when I see that, I come back to India and I demand for stuff like that. So there are these nudges which are happening, which is, I think, pushing overall sport to a better kind of situation. And I think personally, I think today when athletes, and you can correct me on this, when they go to a tournament, वो लोग tournament जाने के लिए नहीं जा रहे, वो लोग जीतने के लिए जा रहे हैं. They believe that they are going to go out and I'm sure I'm echoing this on behalf of a lot of people. When they're going to go to Olympics, they believe that I'm going to go and win a medal and come. And that is a whole change which is happening because of the confidence and because of what you also mentioned about the support which is coming from the government. Of course, corporate like us gets chip in far more. But we are in a very exciting time overall as far as sport is concerned, is what I feel.
Then one more last question. It's regarding the people selected for international events. Usually there is a saying that there is political influence by which the real athletes won't get a chance to compete.
So that he can't answer, sir.
No comments,
He's not
please.
there for this.
No,
Sorry for
what is your opinion? That is what I'm asking.
He can't.
Any such
Sorry, sir.
influence is there? Or
You can talk about sports if you can answer about the sports, please.
No, there was
Right
this.
platform.
There was this talk about 100 medals in the Asian Games and all that, and you being in the Asian and the Games village. Was the kind of pressure to win those kind of number of medals, or how was the atmosphere?
I would say atmosphere was brilliant in China. The village was amazing, to be honest, because I've been to few games and the village was such well created as such for the athletes to perform at the best. I think everything was provided in the Asian Games. And when it comes to the medals, I would say we never had that kind of a discussion getting into a dining table and saying that we need to get 100 medals. But I think it was pretty much sure that we are definitely going to break the 70 mark and definitely go beyond 100 because there was a lot of sport which was very strong for us in Asian Games, and then a lot of medals came in from a lot of new sport for us, which was a big boost, I would say, which I think nobody believed that they could medal in Asian Games, but those kind of medals came in, which was big news for us when we were playing in Asian Games, because that gave kind of a sense of happiness, saying that okay, a new sport has medaled it, and so it said now it's our time to shine. So I think that kind of confidence was always there in the village, and I think as an Indian contingent, we were looking very strong. As before, as you used to say, we used to go to participate in these kind of bigger events. Now we are there to medal each and every event, and you can see that confidence in everyone's face. Even if I would say the way athletics also did, and I think a lot of sport did. I think it's just because of that confidence which has been there in the system for the last 5 to 6 years.
So just one question. Just that we have talked about why Federalbank and Prannoy has done the collaboration. The question that is there is, how did we come together? Because we know the why passion matches both brand and the sports person as well. But how did it come to be? That is one question that I have, which I would like the spokesperson to answer, because that itself talks about the journey that we'll be taking forward. Because it's an exclusive collaboration that we have done. If I'm not wrong, the banking partner that Prannoy has is just Federal Bank. So how is it going to go along for a year or many more to come?
Ashtul, you want to take it and then chip in?
Yeah, you can.
So I think we have been wanting to have foot in sport, and it's not that we just thought of sport in isolation. As a brand which is ambitious, and I told you earlier also, we're the number 7 bank and we want to break into the top 5 and be the most admired bank in the country. We are looking at various pegs which help a brand to be out there deep in the consumer cycle. So culture, music, sport, CSR, these were the various planks on which we thought we'll go out and do. The other part is that we are very conscious as a team collectively about playing the character that we are. I mean, if we were to play anything else, it would look very flaky, and our customers, our shareholders, the general audiences will make out saying that this doesn't look like Federal Bank. So we've also been going a bit deeper and saying that where are our, so to say, sacred spaces, or where are the spaces where we can go out and really make an impact. That's the second part. The third part is that at an individual level, we feel that we can contribute far more, because I think what Prannoy did not mention is that when you're transitioning from junior to senior, and he sort of touched upon it, a lot of the expense happens in your travel. You need to pay for your own coaches, your kids, your wear. And beyond a point in time, it becomes very, very exhausting even for the parents or somebody who's going out and doing it. And it's not that after the next flight, he'll become world number 1. No, there are so many more journeys that you need to go out and do. So if we can support individuals, and which is how it has been for us as a bank also, if you look at a lot of, and I'm drawing this parallel between CSR, because that's where we also touch individuals and sport, you are able to make a difference to a lot of members of the society, is what we feel, rather than picking up a large cause and then feeling like a droplet on it. The other part, and this is a compliment to you, is what we also liked about Prannoy, that he personifies our brand in many, many, many ways. We are human at the core and digital to the fore. I think he also, in many of his conversations, talks about the support that he gets from his spouse, the support that he goes out and gets from his coaches and other members of the team. For us also, you will find this in Federal Bank, that there is a lot of camaraderie. And the fact that what I told you earlier, that we are a less than 2% attrition company, tells that how we all come together as a team. So those are the kind of traits that we have actively sought for. We want to have somebody with whom we are comfortable sitting like this and having a conversation and feeling very proud of that person's achievements, rather than having someone whom we are in awe with. I'm sure we will have somebody like that also whom we'll meet. But right now we're very happy having somebody who's looked up to by a lot of youngsters, and more importantly, we are comfortable sitting next to Prannoy.
I'll just add to what Murthy has said. Basically there is an identification with an individual or a personality depending upon what you believe in and all. I think you would have noticed in last 8 years or so, banking sector has seen so much of turmoil. It's all started with asset quality review in 2015, initiated by then RBI Governor Dr. Raghuram Rajan, wherein I think the asset quality of the banking sector as a whole was seen simultaneously with all the banks being studied at that time simultaneously by RBI's teams and all. And then after that lots of skeletons came out of cupboards and all. You would have seen suddenly the NPA level shot up and all that. It was akin to what in sports we can find some injuries happening at the critical time and all. And then immediately following 2015 we had demonetization, and the bigger thing that happened to Kerala based banks was Kerala floods, once in 100 years. It was the first black swan event that hit the Kerala based banks and all. So coming back from there, showing the tenacity and maintaining a spectacular record of not crossing GNPA level of 3.5% in the worst of times was something I think hardly 3 or 4 banks in the country would have that type of track record. You see, last 10 years, you would not find any bank having in any quarter not crossing 3.5% of your loan book as GNPA. So here we wanted a personality who could show that type of character, coming back and staying there. We are also a 90 plus years old brand, 92 years in fact. So from 2010, Prannoy also had a journey, wherein, more because of, injuries or certain things coming his way, creating some sort of impediment or, some sort of, challenges and all. But he came back. He won over that and came back, and that had been the story of Federal Bank as such.